Thank you for joining me today. My name is Teresa O'Dowd, and I am an instructional designer in the Office of Teaching and Learning with Technology at the Texas Women's University. Today I'm going to take you through the instructional design process used to create a new special program at TWU called the Faculty Academy. The Faculty Academy is a venue for new online instructors to learn about course design, develop relationships with an instructional design partner, and become acquainted with current strategies being used online by TWU colleagues. The Faculty Academy will be offered in the summer. This program is an interactive 4-week online course in which instructors begin to build major course components with emphasis on planning, designing, and the 4 key types of student interactions in an online course. These interactions include interactions with the instructor, with the technology, with the content, and with their classmates. The unique thing about the Faculty Academy is instructors go through the program as students, so they actually get to practice all of these different interactions. The program is aimed at full-time faculty new to TWU without experience teaching in an online environment. Each participant will receive a $1,000 stipend if the course completion requirements are fulfilled. An optional Quality Matters standard review will be available to these participants starting in September. If participants complete all of the Quality Review Matters review requirements, they can receive an additional $500 stipend. The instructional design process used in the Faculty Academy follows the ADDIE model. I first became acquainted with this model through the training and coursework at Boise State University in their Educational Specialist program. I am now using the ADDIE model to build courses and training as an instructional designer at Texas Women's University. In the analysis phase, I sought to clarify the instructional problem, establish the instructional goals and objectives, and identify the learner's existing knowledge. This part of the project is emphasized in the analysis report section of my project paper. In my project paper, in the table of contents, I have outlined the different elements that are a part of the project report. I begin by asking some questions to previous Faculty Academy participants to try to determine who the audience is and what their characteristics will be. I attempt also to identify in this needs assessment survey any behavioral outcomes, what type of learning constraints that might exist, and what my development options are. All of this is done within that learning survey in the analysis report. The basic document that I am attempting to develop through the analysis report, I'm going to click here on it, is this flowchart that basically contains the overall goal of the course for the learners, the 5 goals that it will take to achieve the overall goal, and then the specific objectives that each learner will be working towards to accomplish these goals. In the design and development phase, I was asked to use a backwards design lesson plan template. So in creating this template, I'm looking at the backwards design method and designing my curriculum by setting the goals and choosing the goals and objectives before I choose the instructional methods and forms of assessments. This I found to be a very essential process to the development of my course. And here is an example of that backwards design lesson plan template that I used. I basically summarized the unit, what we're going to accomplish beforehand. Then I developed some essential questions to ask to come up with the objectives. These objectives are what should be learned by the learners, but before the end of the course. Another important aspect in the design and development phase, at least at TWU, is the development of a design document. This design document is something that my supervisor asked me to produce. I believe I have an example of that here. The design document is a high-level solution to training instructional designers who understand course design and development can develop the course without having to make any significant decisions with the design document. So this is something that we do at TWU after every one of our projects. We develop this document that could then be reused to either redesign the course or to teach the course on another occasion. So you can see here that it has specific actions that need to be taken before the course begins, during the course, and then after the course. Again, this document is very similar to the project document that I created for my Edtech680 class. During the implementation phase, a procedure for training the facilitators and the learners is developed. The procedure for training the facilitators is included in my project plan as an instructional guide. And also the preparation of the learners is also included in my project plan as well. Here I'm looking at things like what tools are the learners going to be using, how will they get into the course or register for the course. I want to make sure that we have the books ready, hands-on equipment, tools, and in my case, the online course tools are ready and in place before the class begins. All of this again is outlined in my project paper. Finally, in the evaluation phase of the project, it really consists of two parts, kind of the formative and summative part. This again is shown in my project paper under the evaluation part. In this phase, in reality, in this phase, the course launches and the instructor or facilitator begins to track attendance, do surveys with the participants, and other types of measurements may be used or established in this part of the actual live course. In my design document, I'm actually looking at a couple of other things. So in my design document under evaluation, I actually have an evaluation plan. And the evaluation plan is very much focused on Kirkpatrick's 4-level of evaluation. So here I'm really considering questions like, did the learner enjoy the course? Did they consider the information relevant to what they're doing? So I did include a survey such as this in my design document and also, of course, in the course. But in addition to that, in the course, I did have participants complete a course reflection. So the Faculty Academy was my first instructional design project at Texas Women's University. It actually correlated to the timeline of this Edtech680 course. It had a very tight timeline. I was hired in May and I began working on this project in late May. The application for the Faculty Academy closed on June 21st. Initially, the course was not going to open until July 1st, but my supervisor came to me and said, hey, can we have it ready by June 24th? So we did. We opened the course on June 24th. All of the requirements had to be completed for the first part of the course, the required part of the course, by July 27th. So the course goes live, and it actually went live during my Edtech680 course. So there were 10 new faculty participants in the course. And while the instructional design project that I did for Edtech680 is limited to the design document, I wanted to go ahead and take you to the live course and illustrate what I consider the success of this design project. 9 out of the 10 participants actually completed the course successfully by July 27th. One learner decided not to teach at TWU in the fall, so she dropped out of the course after the first week. So here we are in the live Faculty Academy course. It is hosted in Canvas, the Canvas Learning Management System. That is what we use at Texas Women's University. And I do have it opened up as a faculty member or as an instructor. So you're actually seeing a little more than what the learner would see. On the right-hand side, I have a few menu options available right now that were not available during the course. For the most part, during the course, I had included a menu on the home page, and I really used this menu to drive the learners to what they needed to go to, although I did have announcements, syllabus, and modules available throughout the course, as well as grades. I did not activate Blackboard Collaborate until we actually did a Blackboard Collaborate synchronous session in the course. It was not required, but it was something that they could attend to learn about Blackboard Collaborate. And then I recorded that, so there is a Panopto recording listed there so that they could go back and watch that recording if they were unable to attend. The assignments tab was not available during the course. I've enacted it after the course was over so that I could go in and look at some things under assignments a little more easily as a student. So basically, the course is designed with the Start Here button. That's where the participants need to start. That is a part of what's considered best practices in online teaching, and so I did include that. And here you can see there's 4 tabs. These 4 tabs really get the learners started in the course. The Learning Outcomes tab, which goes over the objectives for the learner. Then you have a Structure and Navigation. It basically tells them how the course is structured, what part's required, what part is optional, what they need to do in the course. And then you have a section that's really important to most of the participants. They all want to know how they're going to get paid, since they do receive a stipend for attending the first 4 weeks. And this goes over all of the options, the dates, how they receive that stipend, what they have to do specifically in part 1 to receive the stipend. And then I have an important section because the participants are in this course as learners or as students, so they can't build anything inside the Faculty Academy, but they are required to build things as assignments. So they're going to be doing that in their own Canvas sandbox. So I need them to add me to their Canvas sandbox. So that it's not really an assignment, but it's very important. So it's the first thing that I ask them to do during the first couple of days of the course. And you can see here are the instructions for how they do that in their Canvas course, just kind of screenshots here of what they do that I developed to help them through that part. So again, I'm very proud of the course. It turned out really well. It's successful in my opinion because 9 of 10 made it through, and the reflections were very positive. So in the expert review portion of my project that really considers kind of the results and also the learners' reflections, my associate director at Teaching and Learning actually evaluated the design document that I turned in as my final project to Edtech680 prior to the course launching. She approved of the design document, made some comments in my final paper, and also approved the course. So the course went live. While it was not a part of this project, I did ask the learners to have a reflection in the course. It was part of their assignment, and all of those reflections were very positive toward the way the course was developed, the content, their reaction to the course. So I was very pleased with that. So my final reflections on this entire project, as well as the Boise State University Educational Specialist Program. Lessons learned. First of all, in the Instructional Design project that I learned while completing the Educational Specialist Program, I learned a lot of things. I learned the value of identifying instructional outcomes and developing a scope and sequence and correlating those instructional outcomes to the instructional material or content and assessments. I think that's very important. I also learned as a part of that, I learned the value of the instructional design process in creating quality courses, whether they be face-to-face or online. And I think that a quality course is really a course where the learners achieve those learning objectives and course outcomes. And that's what learners really want, a good quality course where when they come out of the course, they know more about the subject than they did when they went in. As far as the BSU's or Boise State University's Educational Specialist Program, this is the last course in that program, so I should hopefully pass and achieve that online teaching certificate. I can't say enough about the positive things that I learned throughout the course. In particular, one of my goals was to become an instructional designer at a college university, and I feel like the program did prepare me for that. And through my knowledge that I learned and skills at the program, and also a couple of my professors' recommendations, I was able to achieve that goal and become an instructional designer at Texas Women's University. So with that, I want to end my presentation with some references, 2 images in particular that I included in the video. I wanted to reference where I got those. And also I wanted to include the references to my project paper because a lot of the information I presented was in my project paper, so I did want to include those references. Again, thank you so much for watching my project presentation.